A neon-lit ride that dropped audiences into a chaotic gang-riddled New York City, The Warriors, released in 1979, served as a symbol of urban rebellion thanks to its themes, plot points, and characters. Today, we are going to compare side by side how the cast that portrayed these street legends have aged then and now. John Michael Beck Taylor was 30 years old when he portrayed the de facto warlord to the Warriors' Swan. Already a classically trained stage actor, Beck would appear in TV and movie productions prior to the film, with his role in the 1978 indie horror Madman catching Warriors director Walter Hill's eye. Post-Warriors, Beck landed roles in Xanadu, Megaforce, and Triumphs of a Man Called Horse. Despite Razzie nods for the musical and action flick, he sustained a steady career on screen and in voiceover, narrating audiobooks and reprising Swan vocally for the Warriors video game. As of 2025, Beck is 76 years old and continues to contribute to audiobook and voiceover projects, and remains closely tied to the Warriors' cult following. Ajax, the hot-headed heavy warrior, was brought to life by a 25-year-old William James Remar. Trained at New York's neighborhood playhouse, Remar had his film debut in 1978 with On the Yard, quickly followed by his breakthrough role as Ajax in '79. After knocking it out of the park with the role, Remar would be cast as tough, often villainous characters such as Albert Gons in 48 Hours, Dutch Schultz in The Cotton Club, and lighter roles in Cruising and Windwalker. On TV, he's earned acclaim as Richard Wright in Sex and the City, and later as Harry Morgan in Dexter. More recently, he's appeared in Gotham, Black Lightning, and portrayed Henry Stimson in Oppenheimer. As of 2025, Remar is 72 years old and continues to work in high-profile TV and film. Born August 29, 1952, Deborah was 26 when The Warriors premiered and her portrayal of Mercy would hit the screen. A native of Schenectady, New York, Deborah was classically trained and deeply rooted in the arts. She earned her BFA from Pratt Institute and was already performing on Broadway before stepping into the gritty world of the Warriors. Though Mercy was her film debut, Deborah made an unforgettable impression with her mix of vulnerability and strength. After The Warriors, Deborah quickly found success on television starring as Jackie Rush in the sitcom Too Close for Comfort, but she never strayed far from the big screen. Over the decades, Deborah appeared in cult classics like Streets of Fire and The Devil's Rejects, while also diving deep into her theater roots. Outside of acting, Deborah has kept a relatively private personal life, but she's been known to attend fan conventions, reunions, and Warrior screenings. As of 2025, Deborah is 72 years old. A Juilliard-trained actor fresh off his performance in the Broadway musical Working, David Patrick Kelly was 28 years old when he would debut on the big screen as Luther, the wide-eyed antagonist with no code, no cause, and no conscience. After giving the Warriors its most dangerous edge and most unforgettable moment, Kelly's career exploded in cult and genre cinema. His wiry presence and quiet menace would lead him to the surreal worlds of David Lynch in Wild at Heart and Twin Peaks: The Return. He was also a seasoned stage actor, with roles in Shakespeare productions and critically acclaimed Broadway shows like Once, for which he received a Tony nomination as part of the ensemble. As of 2025, Kelly is 74 years old and still appearing in both indie films and stage productions. Before a single punch was thrown or any train was boarded, the Warriors opened up with an idea, and that idea was Cyrus. The charismatic, messianic leader of the Gramercy Riffs, Cyrus, was portrayed by a 31-year-old Roger Hill, who brought a regal, almost Shakespearean cadence to Cyrus's "can you dig it" philosophy. He appeared for just a few minutes before getting slimed out, but his impact carried the entire narrative forward. Despite how unforgettable his performance was, Roger Hill didn't pursue a long career in Hollywood. After The Warriors, he returned to the stage and focused largely on theater, teaching and working with underprivileged youth, but would tragically pass away in 2014 at the age of 65. His death was quiet, but his fans no doubt let out one last war cry for the legend. After Cyrus was gunned down, the Gramercy Riffs fell into heavy silence until Masai stepped up, the man who took over leadership with cold control and coiled authority. Edward Seer was the man behind Masai and was 30 years old at the time The Warriors premiered. Unlike many of the other actors in the film, Seer wasn't a seasoned Hollywood name. He came from a background of local performance and theater. The Warriors still remains his most recognized film role, as Seer's life would sadly be cut short in 2004 at the age of 56. Marcelino Sanchez was just 21 years old when he took on the role of Rembrandt. Born in Puerto Rico and raised in New York, Sanchez was already deeply involved in the city's performing arts scene. He brought softness and subtlety to the role, balancing the testosterone-heavy cast with introspective energy. After The Warriors, Marcelino Sanchez stayed active in television and film, appearing in projects like 321 Contact and small parts in 48 HRs and Chips. Though he had the talent, Sanchez never reached leading man status in Hollywood due to his tragic passing in 1986 due to complications from AIDS. He was 28 years old, and it's still a heartbreaking loss, one that reflects how many talented, promising lives were lost during that era. Portraying Vermin was a 25-year-old Terrence Terry. An alum of the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, Terry acted in The Contender and Broadway's Grease. He later became a Cablevision news anchor, a public speaking teacher, and also served as a pastor. Now 71, Michos resides in the Hudson Valley and remains active in teaching and church service. David Dominic Harris, born June 18, 1949, was 29 years old when his character Cochise would hit the screen. Before The Warriors, Harris appeared in a few films, but after the film, he was a regular on the screen. He had roles in Attica, acting alongside Morgan Freeman, A Soldier's Story in 1984, and numerous TV credits. He also reprised the role in a 2005 video game and remained closely tied within the cult following of the film until his untimely passing in October 2024. He was 75 years old and is survived by his daughter and grandchildren. Portraying Cleon, the original warlord of the Warriors, was a 22-year-old Dorsey Wright. A Harlem native with deep theatrical roots, Wright studied at the City College of New York and came from a background in black theater and community-driven arts. His role in The Warriors, though short but sweet, was his breakout and defining screen role. After the film, Dorsey acted in a few more films, including Hair and Ragtime, and had a recurring role in the series The Equalizer. However, as the 1980s progressed, he chose a quieter, more grounded path, working with the New York Transit Authority and engaging in voice work for public broadcasting and education. In later years, he reconnected with the Warriors' legacy through fan conventions and retrospective events, always proud of his role as the gang's original heart. On top of reconnecting, he voiced Cleon in the popular Warriors video game, giving new life to the character decades later. As of 2025, Dorsey Wright is 68 years old, still living in New York, and continues to be celebrated by fans as one of the founding faces of a cinematic brotherhood. In one of the most memorable and deceptive scenes in the movie, a striking woman alone at the park in the dark was revealed to be an undercover when she busted Ajax. That role was played by a 31-year-old Mercedes Ruehl and was one of her very first film appearances. Though a minor role, it was a major starting point for an actress who would go on to win some of the highest honors in the industry, such as the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for The Fisher King, and a Tony Award for her role in Lost in Yonkers on Broadway. Though they can't all be winners, her other films and television roles are widely celebrated, with her ability to shift between vulnerable warmth and authoritative power, making her a respected veteran in both Hollywood and New York theater circles. As of 2025, Mercedes is 77 years old, still active in the arts, and widely respected for her powerful performances and legacy.